So I guess we'll move on. Just a final thing, one more thing I want to go over just for the overall track in general was, why did we make a Japanese version? I sent the final mix for the English version to Yvonne, and then suddenly we got in the conversation about, like, you know, it's a very sort of J-rock kind of style. So you can kind of see where it's coming. It's a very J-rock style. You know, you can sort of see it as like an anime opening to, like, I don't know, Attack on Titan or whatever. And then suddenly she sends me a video of her inputting the lyrics word by word into Google Translate into Japanese. And then she asked me, what do you think? And then I just replied as like, funny joke. And then a few minutes later, I realized, oh, she's being serious. Because any person who's learned a second language would know that you never use Google Translate. I use it more than I'd like to admit. Anyone who's learned a second language would know that you never use Google Translate to help or to translate anything, really. Especially lyrics. You don't translate lyrics in Google Translate. And then I sort of thought about it, and I was like, okay, I can't do it because my Japanese level is nowhere near good enough to translate text, especially lyrics. And then I realized, oh, we know a Japanese person, Kohei. He played bass on it too. So I messaged Kohei asking him if he'd be willing to translate the lyrics or sort of interpret the lyrics into Japanese, because you can't do, especially when it comes to lyrics, you can't translate them, you know, word for word. So he agreed to it, and then basically around a month after that he agreed to it, or like a few weeks, he was quite fast. He was very fast with it. I got back the lyrics he wrote. But then there was the whole problem that Yvonne does not speak Japanese, like, at all. But she has sung in opera, which means that, or according to her, or what she's told me, is that she's learned a bunch of techniques in opera that help with singing in foreign languages, like how to remember the sounds and stuff like that. And since I also learned Japanese as a second language, I was able to help with the linguistic sides of everything, because since Kohei speaks it natively, obviously, in the same way that I don't know the linguistics in and out of English, because that's my native language, I guess I would assume that he wouldn't know the linguistics in and out in the same way that a second language person might, because, you know, when you learn it as a second language, you have to pay attention more to how the tones work and stuff like that. You know, like pronouncing stuff, you know, how that's like really, really hard for English speakers to grab. She sent me a couple of demos of her singing in Japanese, the Japanese version. And then I told, you know, just helped her out with getting the syllables and getting the pronunciations right and stuff like that. She sent me the final recordings, and I sent it to Kohei. And I'll never forget what he said. He said it sounds like a native speaker, and that was probably the biggest relief I've ever heard. It's like, oh my god, we have the pass on that. It sounds great. So yeah, that's sort of how the Japanese version came about. So that's sort of the overall story of the song. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into the inner workings of this song. So there's a few points I want to point out just because they're kind of interesting. This section right here, we've listened to this before. I've shown it just now, but this section. So this was very, very different from the original acoustic demo that she sent, which is what I based it off of.
Thought I'd finally be finished. It's not the first time that I'm wrong. So pull up with the reach.
So yeah, in the original version, original acoustic demo, it was just one held chord, and then another held chord, and then basically goes back into da 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 da. But then I was like, nah, let's do this instead. So this is, as you've heard, this is what we did instead. It's very cool, and I think it is very cool. And at the time, I couldn't figure out where I got the idea from. It just kind of came to me. But then I realized I had been listening to a lot of Rosalia during that time, and one of Rosalia's songs called Determination Symphony has that exact same move. Here we go. It's not like exactly the same, but like the idea is kind of there, and it's kind of funny, I think, if it's gonna play the damn song. Oh man, it's kind of funny. Even down to the triplet fill right here. But yeah, that was just like a funny thing that I wanted to point out. What else is there? I remember very specifically during the second verse, I wanted a different drum beat, because if we listen to just the first verse, it has like the straight rock beat, you know, right here. Straight rocking, you know. There's this one drum beat that I know from One OK Rock that will work really, really well. And it goes just a bit like this. That's not it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, if any fans of One OK Rock will instantly recognize that, because the drummer of One OK Rock, I don't remember his name, but I'll put his name up here somewhere. He uses that beat in quite a few of their songs. Just to name a few, "Cry Out," that's one of them, and the beginning, that was another one of them. And I was like, oh, that's the same drum beat. I see what you're doing there. Whatever your name is, whatever his name is. The beginning. So yeah, I heard that. I heard the section, and I was like, oh, this is the perfect place for that drum beat. It has like the similar kind of vibe, you know, rockin', J-rock kind of feel. So, you know, I was like, I lifted a book off of One OK Rock and I put it in the Sound of Modesty. One OK Rock, please don't sue her. Sue me. Actually, don't sue me. Just like, it's inspiration. Great artists great artists steal. That's the phrase. I don't remember what it is, but something down the road to that. A little story time here. I sent this to our drummer at the time, because this was in the original arranged demo as well. I think it's a bit different. Yeah, basically, I sent that to our drummer, and every rehearsal he'd complain about that part just because of how insanely fast this is. I remember so vividly because he would scream during that part. If I can find the recording, I'll put it up right now. But every time, or almost without fail, each rehearsal, we call it the endurance song just because of how fast and how high energy it is. But yeah, I guess there's that one part. What else is there to talk about? Oh yeah, I guess back to vocals again. When she sent me the original English version, I can't be bothered to pull up the other project, but you can get the same idea from the Japanese version. When she sent me the original English version, there were no harmonies at all, and there was something that I was kind of on the fence about not having harmonies, because it felt like such an epic track that it should have harmonies at least during the chorus, or like at least during like the sort of more epic big parts, you know. When she sent it to me and I listened to it, I was like, nah, this needs harmonies. Basically, and then I ended up specifying which parts I felt like the song needed harmonies. I asked for harmonies during this section. That's not it. Where'd it go? Here it is. Here. and this part, and the final part. You know, just thickens it up, makes it sound like more epic. I mean, like it sounds, you know, okay without it, I think. Like it still sounds really good, but that harmony just kind of adds just a tiny bit more to it. And it's not like your typical sort of harmonizing in thirds. They're all moving this at the same distance apart from each other. It's got, you know, it's pretty cool. And she came up with the harmonies herself, and it sounds great. It sounds like, I compared it to when I first heard the harmonies together. I thought it sounded like what was that one person called? Imogen Heap.
What you say? That you only meant when.
I especially love how this one part resolves to the B major. It really felt like a sort of big moment. But yeah, it sounded epic. So obviously the harmonies added quite a bit to it. And especially this last part. I love this last part so much. Yeah, it's epic, right? So that's the harmonies. I mean, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about was the kind of vibe I was going for the mix when I was mixing this was basically like a Rosalia kind of track. You know, the snare's like right in your face. It's like really in your face and really punchy. It's not quite there. It's kind of it's not quite as punchy as like the Rosalia kind of feel. Alright, any more than that I'm getting copyright claimed. Copyright, whatever that is. The snares in your face, guitars are everything's in your face, and like the snare is like really fat, and like with this mix it's sort of, I was trying to go for that, but it was a bit more laid back, I'd suppose. Like the snare has a bit more dynamics to it. Like the drums have a bit more dynamics to it. Everything has like a bit more dynamics to it, but it's still like in your face. Like it's still, everything has their own space, but they're still like right up in your face, you know? Yeah, that kind of feel. All right, cool. I just realized I have been filming for 47 minutes straight. How am I going to edit this down? I have no idea. But yeah, that's sort of all the stuff I wanted to go over for this song, you know, Warm Floors, Cold Bodies, Shokei. But yeah, this is sort of the breakdown of Warm Floors, Cold Bodies, you know, all the stories that went into making this. If Yvonne wants to add anything to the story, if like she has a story to tell, then I'll put it in now. If not, the video is just going to end right here.